What it is, y'all? What's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel club. Yeah, okay. But welcome back to another segment of Let's Just Talk About It. Today's episode is going to be a little different. So originally, this episode was going to be about discipline, and I was going to go into a whole different direction with that. But over the past 2 days, God has been giving me some wild dreams, and it's kind of changed my perspective on discipline. So yeah, I'm just gonna get into it because I'm gonna have to do a lot of elaborating for it to make sense. Okay. So first off, I still want to start with the same scripture that I highlighted because it's still centered all around that. It is Hebrews 12:11. It says, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it." Okay, so pretty much, I feel like the scripture is self-explanatory, right? Essentially, no discipline seems like a lot of fun. You don't have any responsibility. You're not holding on to anything, but eventually, that turns into nothing but chaos. Non-discipline only leads to chaos because you don't have any organization or discipline to accomplish any of the things you set out to do, which is ultimately the purpose of people. It also leads to stagnancy, obviously, because you're not going anywhere. Speaking from experience, you're spending your time doing so many different things that even if you don't accomplish one thing, you're still going to be stuck at the beginning or in the middle of the thing because you're not seeking it out or seeking it forward, and that literally takes nothing but discipline. So pretty much you have to choose discipline as an action. You have to intentionally choose discipline. It's very easy to be lazy, but that is definitely one of the sins, like slothfulness. Like, we're not supposed to be lazy. We're supposed to be up and at 'em and doing the things that we can to produce or harvest the most fruit, whatever your fruit may be, right? One thing I do love is that the Lord, He does give free will. So discipline is on you. What you choose to do with your time is literally on you. He can direct you and tell you to do all of these things, but ultimately it's up to you. He's not a dictator. He is a fair God. He's like, hey, I'm giving you the tools, I'm giving you the resources. However, if you don't decide to pick them up, that's on you. And that was out of free choice. He gave us that. So how does this pertain to my life? Why are we just talking about it, right? So lately I have been on a huge discipline track. I've been trying to discipline myself in multiple areas of my life, around the house, personally with my fitness, self-care, like making sure I actually schedule time for self-care to make myself feel luxurious and the person that I am, because I used to slack on that a whole lot. And just different areas. Now, me personally, I'm definitely the type of person where I'm just like, I'm a go-getter. So usually when I put my mind to something, I just dive in. Hands first, feet first, everything first. Like, I'm diving. Sometimes with that, I have experienced a lot of burnout because I'm forcing all of these things that I need to learn. It's like, instead of just going with the flow of something, I'm like, no, I want to be perfect in it. Instead of letting time make you good at it, I kind of try to force that. My lesson for today, or not even a lesson, but what I was going to talk to you guys about was just the different ways that I have tried to implement discipline into my life and the strategies that I use. They've been helpful for me thus far, but I paused on even saying them because of the dreams I had. So I had 2 back-to-back dreams consecutively one night, right? So what's today? Today is Tuesday. So I had a dream on Sunday into Monday, and then I had a dream last night waking up today where I was like, okay. So on Sunday, my dreams were I was driving. I was going too fast on the highway. I don't know what car I was in, and I crashed. Boom. That's all I remember from the first dream, is that I crashed and it woke me up. So I was like, okay, that's weird. Not super weird. If you know me, if you don't know me, I don't have the best driving history, or at least accident history. only one of which was my fault. However, that doesn't excuse the fact that I have a long accident history. So when the car crashed, I woke up and I was like, okay, rebuking that, because she don't want to be in no more accidents. Like, it's traumatizing. I hate it. I hate the process. I'm surprised I don't have a fear of driving, honestly, but I'm still on the road, doing good, might I add. But yeah, so then I went back to sleep, and then my second dream, this one I remembered vividly, I'm assuming because it was the last dream, but I'm driving, and I'm going down this long road, right? It's nothing but greenery, and I see a couple like little barns here. I'm like in the country or something, but I'm just, you know, cruising. I'm cruising, and all of a sudden there's a speed bump in the middle of this long road that's like paved perfectly, like it's nice, and then there's this big old speed bump, and I literally am like slowing down, but I guess I was going so fast that I hit the speed bump, right? That's this the car. Hit the speed bump, and it just starts going like this, and I'm flying, and it's like, and then boom, boom, it like hits the side, but I don't die. Like, I'm not scraped up, nothing's broken, the airbags don't deploy, like, and the car just kind of hits the side. I get out of one side, and then once I get out, the car just like lands back on the tires, and it's like, it's good. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I see in the distance like this place. It looked like one of the barns or whatever. So I'm like, okay, let me go see if I can use the phone, see if they have any repair people out here. I'm walking. It takes like probably like 2 to 3 miles for me to walk. Find the man, and it ends up being a car replacement place or whatever. So I'm talking to the man. He knows how to do repairs. I don't know him. I feel like I'm in a scary movie. And he was just like, where's your car? We can get somebody to hook it up to the back of this truck. We can track it over here, whatever. I show them where the car is. They bring it back to the place. He's fixing it. Now, this part is kind of like where I'm confused, or I was just like, So I'm there for like a day and a half. They pull out the middle part of the car, and it's like a computer or something, a computer to the car or whatever, and they're repairing that, because I guess like that was messed up. But in my mind, I'm like, the exterior, like everything outside the car is messed up. But at this point, I guess they're just trying to get it to run. I don't know. So they're fixing it. They finally fix it. I'm on my way out the country, finally back on the highway, and then the check engine light comes on. And then I woke up because I was pissed. Nicole, what does that have to do with discipline? Okay. Well, let me get to my second dream so I can tie them both together, because they don't make sense one without the other, right? Okay. Second dream, which is what I had yesterday. I am visiting friends, right? And they have moved from Tennessee. I used to go to school in Tennessee. So they have moved from Tennessee to where I am now. And they were like, you know, come by, see the new spot, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, cool. So I come and visit them. For whatever reason, I'm like staying with them for a little while. I'm assuming to like help them get acclimated. We just like chopping it up, catching up. So, you know, they don't know me, so I was just like chilling. And there's a companion, or friend rather, that I had like not seen or talked to in a long time, and they were there. I'm gonna say, yeah, they were there because they were friends with somebody else that lived in the complex, right? So I'm like, okay. So they ended up coming over. I met the girl who actually lives in the complex, and then they were friends with my friends that moved to Tennessee. So the friend that I hadn't talked to in a long time was attached to the woman living in the same building as my friends. I'm gonna say companion, because friends, companion, so y'all not crossing people. So the girl brings over the companion. The girl living in the building brings over the companion, and we're having like a good old time. It's cute, whatever. And they end up bringing out, like, I don't know if it's like VR, but it wasn't VR because it was like very immersive, like your whole body was like in the game system. Think like Sword Art Online type energy, like that's what it gave. And so I'm in this dream playing a game. We get so far, everybody's playing the game. My partner is the companion that I no longer like talk to or whatever, and everybody else is like teamed up. So me and them are on a team, and we're getting far in the game, and then we get to this part where it's like you had to use like your brain. It wasn't like a generic part of the game where you could just like, oh, boop, 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 jump on this, hit this, whatever, and you're done. It was like you really had to sit there and figure out like, how can we use all of these elements in order to get to the other side? Because we had to cross over an ocean and some other stuff. But yeah, so we did all of this stuff. We couldn't figure it out. We had to use teamwork, and we finally ended up getting across the ocean, and then boom, it went black. Like the system went black. At this point in the dream, I'm outside of my body and not in the video game anymore. I'm outside in my body. So I take off the headset and I'm like, yo, like what just happened? Either something got unplugged or, you know, whatever. Cool. We plug back in the system, rebooted, Progress lost. The progress is lost, y'all. There is nowhere to be found. We have to start the game over. In true fashion, I got mad and I woke up because I'm not continuing this dream. Like, it doesn't make sense. Now, okay, Nikki, what does that have to do with anything? I still don't understand what this has to do about discipline. Baby, believe me, I didn't either. Until I started trying to read what I was going to tell y'all today. And then it all kind of started like making sense. So, like I said, I had the tendency to go full speed ahead on things, and I easily get burnt out because I'm putting all my energy going into one thing. Now, what both of these dreams showed me is that going super fast in the wrong direction will have you crash out. Or with the wrong person attached can crash you out. Sometimes the things that you do don't necessarily have a whole lot to do with you or the things you experience. Let me rephrase that. Sometimes the things you experience don't have a whole lot to do with you, but the things on the outside of you. So first dream, the speed bump, right? Didn't know it was going to be there. Could I have controlled my speed? Yes. Could I have controlled the speed bump showing up? No. So based off of your environment, you have to adapt to how you're moving, obviously. You have to be disciplined enough to anticipate things like that coming, even if you don't see it. Speed bumps included. Double checking the people that you're taking along with you or the people that you're allowing to help you along the way. Granted, in that situation, I felt like I didn't have anybody. Referring to the first dream, I felt like I didn't have anybody else I could have looked for. I just trusted the first people I seen, when in reality I should have called and been like, or got on my phone and looked up like top 5-star auto repair people and to see if they were close, because who's to say they weren't 3 more miles up the street. I already walked like 2 to 3. I could walk 3 more to make sure I got the service right. Hello? Okay. Just to get back on the road and then have my car burn out again and still have to go and find somebody who was adequate enough to do the actual job. Not to ignore the fact that I probably wouldn't have been able to get back downtown had they not fixed my car. However, it still wasn't done properly, and I could have got it done properly the first time instead of crashing out again on the highway. You see what I'm saying? And then still having to go somewhere else for more service. Second dream, discipline. That more so was like, you gotta be careful on who you take with you, because depending on the person, and not even saying just purely based off of their actions and who they are as people, but also you don't know, and this is what I really had to learn, you don't know what energy people are carrying around with them. everybody is fighting their own generational curses or things that they have that they're trying to break. I have my own, so I'm not judging anybody, but some people are carrying things that you don't know are even on them or through their family or through their bloodline, and you have to be careful about who you let come with you. Because regardless of whether it looks cute, or regardless of whether they're a friend of a friend, or regardless of whether y'all are just put in a situation because you need to be careful on what energy you're accepting and who you're allowing to go with you, because that could derail you or make you start over depending on who you're taking. And sometimes that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the person next to you. So you have to be disciplined in your selection of your circle, which everybody's just like, oh yeah, my circle's tight, yeah, I make sure I do the third degree. Sometimes that third degree, that's not something that you see in person. It's something that you have to talk to God about and really look and be like, how are you spiritually? Even if they're not religious, how are you spiritually? Because a lot of people be dibbling and dabbling in things that are attracting other spirits or energy that might not even have nothing to do with their family. Sometimes they're carrying that by themselves and then passing that on to their kids or whoever they're about to raise up. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be disciplined in more than one way. It's what my dream, now I'm realizing as I'm talking it out with you guys, because I'm not gonna hold you, I knew it had something to do with discipline, but as far as like that journey that it took me on, I was sitting here racking my brain like how, I was like, God, how does this relate to discipline? You know what I'm saying? It took me a minute, but I finally got there. You have to be disciplined about where you're going. You have to be disciplined about anticipating what could happen, even if it is the most unfathomable thing. I try to think unfortunately, to the worst degree, so I could just be prepared for everything in between. And sometimes you can't even be prepared for that, but mentally, I was talking to somebody at my job the other day, and they were reading a book about mentally preparing yourself and how that can be preparation for something that you don't expect, rather something unexpected just happening to you. Something unexpected just happening to you. I'm gonna look at the book for you guys and tell you. Okay, so it's called Relentless by Tim Grover, and he was pretty much, I still haven't read it yet, but he told me it's a really great book so far. So yeah, pretty much just mentally preparing yourself for things that you don't expect is preparation in itself. So this is a part of Just Talk About It that I would like to add. It is questions of the day. So these are questions that I have asked myself and I'm going to answer on camera. If you would like, you can grab a notebook. You can ask yourself these questions as well to see what your answers would be. Sometimes I find that when I ask myself questions like I'm getting interviewed or something, it kind of helps me get more introspective and think about things that I typically don't think about or ask myself, just because I'm constantly thinking of other things. So first question of the day is, do you consider yourself disciplined, and is it conditional? I would consider myself a medium disciplined person. I do think it is sometimes conditional. I'll keep trying to do something if I have like a goal, or I'll be disciplined to achieve a goal, and then once I achieve the goal, it's kind of like, okay, what's next? Because I get bored pretty easy or quickly. So I have to constantly feel like I'm doing something new, and sometimes me doing the same thing makes me feel stagnant, even though that is what accumulates your what's the word I'm looking for? That increases like your expertise, like, you know, your experience. What's the word I'm looking for? Let's go with experience. It increases your experience and your knowledge of the topic. Time, obviously, doing it over and over and over and over and over again. Your precision. So yes, I do think sometimes it is conditional, and that has been my downfall, because once I reach a goal, I'm like, okay, cool, I got it. Instead of reaching for the goal that's after that and not switching to a different goal, as far as like in a whole different field. What are some things and people you encounter when you're lacking discipline? Now, this question I wrote as far as like, because I don't know if it's the same for other people, but I realize in my life, typically when I am experiencing non-discipline, there are similar factors, maybe different bodies, different people, but essentially the same spirit and sometimes the same environment. Usually when I'm experiencing non-discipline, my place is a mess. It's not together, nothing's organized. Everything's everywhere. It's literally a reflection of my mind, right? Coming on the outside, it's just shit everywhere. Excuse my language, it's stuff everywhere. As far as people, typically people who are there to distract me, and I never notice it while I'm in the moment because it just seems like, oh, I gotta do this, oh, I gotta do that. But anytime I've been around a person, specifically partners, sometimes it'll be like, oh, let's go do this, we could go do that, which is fun, which is great. But you gotta realize that time management is a big thing. So if you're spending your time going here and doing this and maybe doing something for them, or helping out with family things and and all your time is spread out, what time do you have left for yourself? And I always find myself in that predicament because I like to be helpful, I like to be useful, past tense. Okay. But yeah, I liked to be useful. So I would try to extend myself to people as to prove my friendship or to prove my loyalty, and I ended up burning myself out that way because now I'm not even leaving any time for myself. No self-care, no discipline, as far as either getting my body right, making sure I go to the grocery store, make sure my diet's good, start slacking off on things because I'm trying to overextend myself to everybody else, and I really had to cut that out because was leaving time for absolutely no discipline. Are the people around you disciplined? So originally I would say that was 50-50, but I prayed that prayer, y'all know the one. I was like, God, remove anybody that's not supposed to be here, baby. They've been flying, and some I didn't even expect. It was sad, but I'm not arguing with God, you feel me? If they not in my life, especially if they're choosing not to be, and some of them I'm kind of forcing out because I don't feel like it's right. Yeah. So originally it was half and half, very disciplined half and then a non-disciplined half. I thought that was my fun group. Okay, I'll call y'all to have fun. I'll call y'all to talk business. But no, I need to have fun talking business, and that's it. So yeah, right now my circle is pretty disciplined, and especially my family as well. Because sometimes, well, not even sometimes, you don't choose your family, your biological family. And right now my family is very disciplined in accomplishing a lot of goals, and that has also been helping me to focus on myself and not everything outside of me, to make sure that I'm getting disciplined and getting things in check. So I would check your family as well. Even if my family wasn't disciplined, I'll be like, hey, there's things we need to get in order so that we can accomplish things that are past this. And if they are dragging you down, drop them too. Don't drop them. I mean, if you can't help them, help yourself and then come back so you can help them. That's what you do. Okay. And then the last question of the day is, what event do you remember being the cause of, or the start, the catalyst? The catalyst. What event or situation do you remember being the catalyst of you being undisciplined? So I was very disciplined in everything I did. Even though I was switching from thing to thing, I was always very disciplined in being I'm going to accomplish this, I'm going to finish this, I'm going to finish this. Again, once I accomplished what I deemed in my head that I wanted to accomplish, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'll do something else. Insane. But I do remember when I went to college, ironically, I was very one-track minded. My school grades were amazing. I had A's and B's. I was good at school, but outside of school, since school was my only goal, I was not really focused on anything else. I was dancing a little bit in college, and I was disciplined with that, but even then, it was kind of just something to do on the side. I started smoking weed in college. So most of my college experience was sessions, wasting time, because I could have just faced something by myself and then got on with my day. But you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, we was all broke in college, so we had to match. I was also working. I was working as well as doing school. So in my free time, I was either dancing or smoking. And then of course parties, drinking. Might I add, I do think it is very interesting. I'm gonna make that a whole different episode probably, but how college kind of sets us up to be dependent on substances to get through stressful times. Like even a lot of the academics I know now that are grown, they drink a lot, like a lot. So, and y'all peep that, like anybody that's really academic bound, maybe a professor, somebody, like look at them, they drink, baby. I really feel like it's from the environment. Like college kind of teaches us like, hey, here's all these substances, you're stressed out, take these. No, we shouldn't do that. So yes, I think that was the track of my undisciplinedness, because I also think I started to spiral after that point, because I was like, I like school, but I don't like school. I don't want to finish this, even though I should have just finished and got it out the way. But I wanted to do something fun and exciting, and school wasn't that. So I didn't finish school, and that started my rabbit hole of not unfinishing things, or going here and being like, okay, I'm gonna do this and it not be finished, or oh, I want to start this and it's not finished. From the time I left school, I felt like everything was on a clock and I just was not meeting the time. Going back to my first dream, going way too fast. Like, okay, this isn't happening, this isn't happening, this isn't happening. Okay, I gotta change. This isn't happening, this isn't happening, this isn't happening. I gotta change. And that process of just that loop, y'all, oh my gosh, that probably started the rabbit hole of me not finishing things and being undisciplined. So me now saying that out loud, and this is my first time answering these questions. I just wrote the questions down. I didn't even think about them like after I wrote them down, because I wanted to answer them authentically. But yeah, I see that loop occurring, and maybe that's why I had 2 dreams back to back about the same thing, because he's like, God's trying to tell me like, you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Like literal insanity, literally. So you guys just focus, and if it takes more time than you think it's supposed to, so what? So what? If you're sick of starting over, stop giving up. So simple, but I think if you're like me, probably not all people, because I see a lot of people doing really great, but if you're like me and you get super anxious, don't let that be the reason why you can't complete something. And I didn't even realize that was what it was until now, literally, until I'm talking to you guys, like that is the reason why I kept jumping from thing to thing, because I'd be too anxious. I'm so scared to put all my eggs in one basket and just be like, go, just go, just do it. But yeah, so that is all I have for the questions of the day. Another little segment. We got segments, y'all. We got segments. Okay, but the other part, last but not least, is I want to give a helpful hint of the day. So what I've been doing to keep myself disciplined as of late is switching things by the hour, right? So from the time I'm waking up, I'm giving myself an hour to get things complete. I'll make a list of all the things I need to do for the day, and then I'll be like, okay, I need to have time for this, I need to have time for this, I need to have time for this, and then I'll alternate. So I'll give an hour to one thing, be like, okay, once that hour is over, switch to the next thing. Now say it's something creative like editing videos or choreography or something like that, and I'm in the swing of something. I'm like, nah, I can't stop because I'm in this groove. I gotta get it while I got this feeling. I want to cut it off. I will extend it. So say it's like, okay, I was doing an hour, and then boom, editing photos, 2 hours. Now everything after that I have to extend to 2 hours to give it the same equal amount of time. This is a great way, I've realized, to maximize your time and also see what you're doing with your time. Because if an hour passed by and you don't have anything accomplished from the time you started to the time the hour ended, what are you doing? For me, it's usually like doom scrolling. I have to like throw my phone in the corner because I'm like, nah, I got stuff to accomplish. And it's also cool. I'm a very visual learner and visual acceptor, you know what I mean? So if I look down and I see an hour has passed by and I have nothing to show for it, I'm like, yikes, like what am I doing? But when we don't put time limits on anything, it's really kind of like, oh, I just planned on getting this done today. Either it gets done or it doesn't. But when you're actually dividing it by time to be like, I dedicated this time to this and nothing was accomplished, that's like a whole different feel or vibe, at least for me. So that's my helpful hint of the day. Try to separate your tasks by hours and see how much you accomplish. So that way, even if you don't finish something, you're still accomplishing something in each thing. And that's a way to keep it moving to where you're not just stuck on one thing. Because I'll do that too. I'll get stuck on one thing and still have nothing accomplished because I'm trying to hurry up and force this thing to happen. Instead of just being like, okay, it's not coming right now. Let me move on to something else. Okay. So this has been this episode of Just Talk About It. If you guys enjoyed the segments or the actual nuances of this episode, please let me know down in the comments, like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.